What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel for a Square Golf Launch Monitor update video where hopefully we can answer the question if this latest update that's now about 2 weeks old is good, bad, indifferent, not much difference. The reason why I'm probably titling it the way I am and the way I just started it is because this update, like I said, is about 2 weeks old, and I've heard some mixed reviews on it. You search some of the Facebook groups, Reddit groups, whatever, what may have you. About kind of people's thoughts about updates that come out, whether it's like the Square app, the connector, the firmware. And there's been some mixed reviews here. So personally, I'm not sure if maybe people have issues with certain technology type of stuff, and maybe they have like a one-off situation where maybe distances are like all of a sudden way short or way long, or the spin's way off. I don't know if that's like a common thing that multiple people experience, or if it's like a one-off thing and then that kind of narrative kind of gets spread. So maybe like out of 5,000 people that have done this update, maybe like a handful of them had issues with the update, and then that narrative kind of comes mainstream to where people say, this update isn't great or not. All that to say, I've waited. I've skipped updates in the past. I've waited about 2 weeks to try to get kind of a consensus, and I haven't seen really anything one way or the other. It doesn't seem like there's tons and tons of people who are saying definitely don't do it, but there have been a handful of people saying that they didn't think this firmware update was great. So last time I actually loaded into the Square Golf app to do a target alignment, because I kicked the shank tank and I knocked it a little bit out of alignment. It forced me to update the actual Square software, the app here. I had to go and download the new app. So I've had that for a little bit. And when I went in to do the target alignment, I skipped purposely the firmware update. So we're going to go ahead and do it together right away. And we're going to go through this, see how long it takes, poke around the Square app a little bit, go over to GS Pro. I downloaded at the same time that the update came out for both the firmware, the software. There was also a new connector. I just got the new connector, and it looks really cool. There's a new awesome feature that I think is going to be very worthwhile, getting the new GS Pro connector. The video right after this is going to be more of an in-depth video of just showing you the connector, and there's a new option in there that's really cool that I think you guys are going to want to see. But let's go ahead and get into it. Hopefully we can just log in and we don't get a Unity error and kick us out. From what I understood, there's no groundbreaking news and features of this update, meaning like club head speed is usually #1 on people's want list. They keep saying they're working on it. Hopefully that comes out. Hopefully that happens. #2, you guys may be surprised, now part of the connector, they actually did come out with something really good. I don't want to spoil it for the next video, but maybe if you've gotten the connector, you've seen it. For me, probably my third biggest gripe, distances all seem good. All the spin measurements with the TP5 seem really good. For me, I've been having issues with tee reads on tee shots, especially for my SGT like tournament rounds. Basically, if you guys followed some of my Square journey, I started with white tees, which seemed to work pretty good, but at the beginning stages, there would be maybe 1 or 2 tee shots around where the Square would actually lock on to the white rubber tee instead of the ball. So I would hit the ball and it would just be a no read. So I'd have to re-tee it maybe 1 or 2 times for it to get it to read. Since then, over the past few months, I've been using the black tees, which eliminated the no reads. But as of late, and people that have seen my live streams or videos, I've had some tee reads, meaning that when I go ahead and hit driver off of this tee, for whatever reason, the Square locks onto the tee instead of the ball, and it goes like 15 yards with like a 30-mile-an-hour ball speed on the tee instead of the ball, which is pretty frustrating. I'm hoping we won't be able to do a super in-depth, like I won't be able to know right away if this update is worthy or not, but we'll get some first impressions, and I'm hoping maybe they included that. Maybe they know about that issue, but pretty darn frustrating when you're on the tee box, you have a good round going for something like tournament-wise that means something SGT, and then you just waste a stroke by having the Square pick up the tee, going 15 yards off the tee, and now you're hitting a second tee shot in the rough, and you wasted a stroke, which is pretty frustrating. But let's log in. Hopefully we don't get a Unity error. It should prompt us to do the update here. Searching for device. Okay, we're connected, and now here we go. I know my video's up. You should still be able to see it. It says, device firmware update is required. Press the update button to proceed with the update. Do not power off or disconnect during the update. So in the past, when that really big groundbreaking one came out a few months ago, when they integrated the TP5s, you actually had to go onto the website and connect your Square to the computer, via the cord, the USB cord that they give you. It looks like this one, it can just do it kind of over the air wirelessly. So we're going to click update. We'll see what happens, see how long this takes. I can't imagine it's super long. I have relatively quick internet, so it's just, I'm sure that just that 100% it pulled it. Now it's probably sending it to the actual device. And like I mentioned, the game plan, I don't know how long this video will be, but we'll do this update. We'll click around the Square app. If those of you out there either use it on your phone or your computer, you don't use GS Pro. Personally, I'm almost 100% GS Pro. So what we're going to do, we'll poke around the Square app. Maybe we'll hit a couple shots on the Square range, see if we have any initial impressions of this firmware update, whether like distances are way long, way short, the spin's off, anything like that. And then we'll head over to GS Pro. I'll try out the connector for the first time. You guys won't see that on screen, but I'll try out the connector, see if we can get connected to GS Pro, and then just hit shots for maybe 5 or 10 minutes and notice if anything seems out of the ordinary, either good or bad, for this update. But we're at 33%. It's moving along. I actually just got yesterday a new case. I'm down to like my final 3 balls over here, the TP5 Pix balls. I've cracked 6 out of the 12 that I originally got. I ordered another case on Amazon, but this time I actually went with the TP5X balls. A little bit firmer, a little bit higher compression. Shout out to old C-Drum. He knows why I'm mentioning him. But I picked up a brand new case of the TP5X balls. So I'm hoping, like I said, these lasted me a good couple months, and those 3 in front on the mat that you can see over there are still in decent shape. But if you use them enough like I do, the decals get worn down. Like these over here, these things are on their last leg, and sometimes these decals are so beat up and worn down, the Square can't even read them anymore. But maybe the camera isn't doing it justice, but believe me when I tell you, these things are extremely beat up, and some of the decals don't even register because they're so worn off. But I'm hoping TP5X balls maybe get a little bit longer life out of them, and the higher compression, get some higher ball speeds for my speed training journey, and hopefully they don't crack quite as often. But excited to test those out once I wear out these final 3 balls for the regular TP5 Pixes. All right, we're at 90%. Honestly, not too bad. If they do all these big firmware updates like this in the future, all right, the Square just restarted itself, it looked like. It's saying updating, it just blinked. And now there's one white light on the left. I'm sure it's rebooting. It says it's been updated successfully. I have a feeling it may want us to go out of the app and then come back. We'll go ahead and press OK. The Square still looks like it's kind of in like standby mode. Oh, there it goes. It just switched over. Now there's the red 1 dot on the left, blue light in the middle, and a blinking blue light on the right. Okay, now it disconnected because the Square rebooted. So if we click device up here, it should be able to find it. There it is. And we're connected. So that was pretty much the length of the update. If you guys are worried about, maybe you're not super tech savvy, worried about what entailed for some of these updates, you just saw it. That was pretty easy. So now, in theory, we have the latest software, we have the latest firmware, and we have the latest GS Pro connector. Let's see if we poke around a little bit. What do we have for notifications? Fixing a bug on April 14th, credit registration, app update. So April 10th. We're towards the end of April here. So like I said, it's about 2 weeks old. There was a course update, app update January 14th. That was the last one I had. Settings, server location, carry distance adjustment. I saw that they changed this a little bit versus the, I just have mine set to 0. I don't really use this, but I saw they changed this. So you can go 0, negative 10%, or 10%, or anywhere in between. I believe they did that instead of like the previous, it was distance ball, premium ball, standard ball type of thing. Spin measurement calculation. So this one, we definitely want measurement, meaning it's looking for the actual decals on the TP5 balls if you happen to using the actual Square balls, which I don't recommend, but we're going to put measurement there. So it says measure the spin of the golf ball in the list. It is recommended to use the calculation mode for golf balls other than the list. So basically, if you're using a plain white ball, you want calculation where it's taking your club data and it's estimating the spin based on the launch and the direction and all that stuff. For someone like me, and hopefully most of you out there to get the most out of your square, you're using the TP5 balls that the square can actually read the decal on. So if we click the list, my video may be cutting off some of it, but you can see maybe on the projector it has the 2 square balls listed and then the TP5 and the TP5 pix balls listed. So we'll leave it on measurement. We'll press OK. Sound effect on, yards and feet, miles an hour, voice, graphic setting, tutorial, and target alignment. That looks all about the same. So now if we go over, let's see what we have for still multi-game, still grayed out. That should be coming. Game, these should be the courses. So what do we have? 1 player, wind strength, light. I think that was new. Again, I haven't really looked at these a lot, but you can change the front 9 and the back 9. Green speed, concede distance, auto putt. Let's see what we have for courses now. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I was going to see if we had any more. So some of these are still grayed out, but it does look like there's a bunch coming and they have added some. I still need to get around to showing you guys these courses if I ever have time, which I seemingly are less and less of time as of late, but I would like to do some videos showing you guys these courses if you're a current Square user, possibly you're looking into the Square and don't want to go the whole gaming laptop, gaming computer, GS Pro, extra cost type of thing. These courses, from what I originally got and I tested them out, they did look really good, especially for the credits are really cheap. You start with 1,000 and I'm still at 961. Shows you how little I've used the Square courses being a GS Pro user, but worthwhile looking through these. And the courses, as far as graphics and whatnot, they do look really good. Comparatively speaking, for me, going from like a Garmin R10 with Home T Hero, which wasn't much to write home about, to now something like the Square, these courses are pretty awesome. Driving range, let's see what we have here. So there's still the 2. There's Highland and Bayport. Camera tracking, backspin, side spin. Let's try it. See what happens here. I haven't hit a single shot, so still no offset. I know people have been asking for that in the Square. Target alignment, tracking, yeah, there's still no offset. People have been asking for that. That's going to be a software type of thing. GS Pro is awesome because it has the offset. So for me, obviously, my center point is here, dead straight down the middle of this hitting mat, right here, over here on the screen right now. I'm still going to hit this way because that's where the square is aligned to and it'll show up straight. But it doesn't seem like a huge thing, but after switching my GS Pro over to the offset, it does make a big difference because you actually have a straight line to kind of aim at. And if we were playing an actual course, the pin would be over there. But let's see some approach wedge shots. Usually I try to hit this around 100 yards. Ready? There's the ready. I was waiting for that. Little chunky, into out, descending blow. Right around 100 though, so it carried 93, 94 total. It's a little bit toey and chunky. Backspin looks good. Left side spin looks good, being off the toe. The chunkiness brought down the spin a little bit. I'm not a robot like the Joe Legowskis or C-Drums of the world, so for me to tell you exactly what my ball speed should be and backspin and launch angle, all that type of stuff, I'm not the guy for that. But to me, that shot matches up with what I would have thought that would have happened based on that not so great strike. This one, see if we can make a little bit cleaner contact. So that one, a little bit cleaner. Backspin went up a little bit. Carried that 98, 99.6 total. Cleaner strike, started a little bit more right. My face was a bit more open. So face to target 1.1 open. Dynamic loft it has, that's estimated. The face to target is also estimated, but it is accurately measuring both the club path and the attack angle. So I was 4.1 into out, descending blow. It did have left side spin, but that was kind of more of a push draw. So it started right, started to come back a little bit. It was really just a straight shot. I don't mind that. But to me, everything seems good. So I can sit here all day and just keep hitting shots. But I think while we're doing this, let's go over to GS Pro and just hit a few more because I'm used to that. I know what the shot should look like, and we'll have the offset. But give me a second here. We'll exit out of this and load up GS Pro. We'll see if the connector works. And then again, video right after this is going to be more in depth. I'll capture the actual connector so you guys can see it. And there is a really cool feature that they added into it, which I will personally be using and I'm pretty excited about. So we'll press exit. You guys are going to be seeing a black screen just for a couple seconds here while I load up GS Pro. All right, GS Pro is now loading. That should be coming up on your end as far as the video goes. Open API should get launched here in a second. It just got launched, and now I did poke through the Square GS Pro connector just briefly, as like 20 minutes ago when I downloaded it. But this is the first time actually connecting it to GS Pro. I know you guys won't be able to see it, but it shows GS Pro's connected. There has been in the past. I'm hoping part of this connector update fixes it to where, I don't know if you guys experience the same thing, but it seems like 50% of the time I come out here when I first set up the Square to GS Pro and I get a Unity error. It happens sometimes with the Square app itself, but I get a Unity error, the Open API crashes, the Square connector crashes, and then usually it's the third time that it gets to go. 50% of the time it works on the first attempt, and then seemingly like the other 50% of the time I need to close it and then go back into it. But I'm curious while I'm thinking about it. Let me know if you guys have any issues like that you've experienced between the T-reads, the Square connector. If you've done this update, if you've seen anything wonky, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts down in the comments section. So we scanned, it found the Square, we're connecting. It shows we're connected. I think we're good. So that's a good sign, at least for the Square connector. First attempt to connect it the first time. So now we should be good to go. We're back in GS Pro like I usually am. We'll go practice range. We'll hit a couple more shots. We'll hit a few approach wedges. Again, I'm not warmed up, but we'll see if anything out of the ordinary pops up in terms of maybe spin, side spin, distance. I just have, you guys saw my settings on the Square app, which I don't really use. I just had it set to 0. This 100-yard choke down approach wedge shot, that was pretty much what I would expect on those strikes. As far as GS Pro goes, I'm locally at 295 feet or something like that of elevation. So I just have mine set to 295 or 300 feet, which is basically nothing. I'm pretty close to sea level. So I'm not one of those people that uses like a boost. I used to boost up the altitude before I jumped into GS Pro and before Square updated everything, just because I felt like they were a little bit short back in the premium distance balls days. But over the past probably 3-4 months, I just leave everything the way it is, and I take Square's word for all the distances and the spin and all that stuff. So that was chunky. A little bit left though, but similar, same thing as the backspin. So I caught a little bit chunky. Spin was a bit down, 94. Carry 99.8 total. Like I said, I feel like I have a pretty decent judge of this choke down approach wedge at 100 yards. So to me, that seemed pretty good. We hit down on it. It was a little bit chunky, so usually when that happens, sometimes the club skips off the mat, so the attack angle wasn't super steep. But 5.7 degrees into out, all those numbers and the way that felt looked pretty good. We started slightly right. It drew back, 500 side spin. That was a bit of a cleaner strike. So 103 carry, started further right, didn't draw quite as much. The face was a bit more open, but higher backspin, 108 total. As you can tell by how I'm dressed, warmer here in New England, finally. Going into May, we're towards the end of April right now. But I've noticed this too. I took yesterday off. When I come out and I'm fresh, sometimes the ball just goes a bit further from not being bundled up out here in flannel with multiple layers. But so far, those two shots seem pretty good. That was toey. That should draw a little bit more, and it is. 7,900, 102 carry. Started a little bit right, drew a little bit more. To me, that looks good. So let's try a couple pitching wedges and then maybe a couple 8-irons. Personally, and honestly, I don't really feel like hitting driver right now. So, I mean, this would have to be like a 5-hour-long video for me to do a comprehensive test with all my clubs to see if the update is fine. But for me, those couple shots on the Square range, couple shots now on GS Pro, everything seems to be working good. The main point of this was the firmware update. People said it was a little bit wonky. I haven't seen anything just yet, but connector seems to be working good, and the firmware update seems to be a little bit thin on that one. 7,300, 120 carry. To me, that checks out. Usually this pitching wedge, if I hit it well, I'm in the neighborhood of about 130, 135 total. That one carried 120, rolled out to 125. Oh, that was Healy. And the spin axis kicked up to the right. Again, that one checks out. Not hit particularly well, but off the heel, spin's going to kick up to the right. It did, in fact, register that and pick up on it with the TP5s, which is cool. I always find, the square is still awesome, awesome, awesome value. Really, all they need to do, in my opinion, and it already is the winner, but to make it even better, they just need to add club head speed, which you think with the stickers they'd be able to figure it out. They keep saying it's coming. I hope it's sooner than later in a future update. But to me, the square, probably the best value in simulator golf. Now it's hit a little bit better, 130 carry, a bit of a pulled draw, so it goes a bit further. Side spin kicked up, it went further, 136. I swung a little bit more at that one. To me, this is in line. I was just hoping, again, I heard those somewhat horror stories in the GS Pro or the Square Facebook groups and whatnot, people saying that it screwed up their entire their entire square. But to me, this seems pretty much the same as it was before on the old update. So ideally for me, I think the square is really, really good as is. It does a great job measuring the backspin and the side spin. Does a good job with the club data. So to me, besides the club head speed, like I said, and maybe tweaking a couple things with the T reads that I mentioned, I'd be pretty happy if they just incrementally just fine tune things. Like I don't think it needs a massive, massive groundbreaking overhaul type of update. To me, everything is still really, really good. So I was kind of hoping this would be the case to where I wouldn't really be able to notice much between that firmware that I was using for the past couple months to now this one. Struck a little bit better again, 130 carry, still a bit of a pull draw, but that was a little bit toey. To me, that all checks out, 134. Let's hit a couple 8 irons. If I hit it good, this should be in the neighborhood of about 160, 165 total. Carry should be anywhere between about 155, 160 maybe. 154.6, nice baby draw. I don't know what more we can ask for. That seems really good. Again, these are the first couple swings of the day, so I'm not exactly warmed up. But to me, from how that felt and what that just showed on GS Pro, that's pretty spot on in terms of backspin, side spin. Just for the sake of it, let's try to hit. We'll do a couple bigger shot-shaping shots just to show you guys that it is, in fact, picking up the balls. I know some of you guys like seeing some of those more exaggerated ones, so we'll try to hit a massive hook, and then we'll do a pretty big slice if we can. So this one, hooding the face on the 8 iron, aiming way right. The HLA on the bottom right, this one should launch pretty far to the right and have a pretty significant spin axis going back to the left. And there you have it. So it launched 3.3 right. Backspin was down because it's such a low spinning hook. Carried 150, 2,500 side spin to the left. So, if obviously you're not trying to hit that shot, but if you're in GS Pro or you're playing a course and you need to get out of tree trouble and hit a kind of shot like that, it is cool that it can in fact do that if you're trying to do it. This one, I'm more proficient trying to hit big, massive hooks like that. I've been trying to work on the draw over the past few months. So I'm going to try to hit and that one too, even the club path, 16.5 degrees into out. This time I'm going to try to hit a massive slice, so I'm going to try to match that up. Start it way left, swing way across it with the club face open. This thing should spin up to the right a good amount. Started way left, 13.6 degrees out to in. That checks out. Again, I'm just not quite as confident and proficient in hitting big, massive slices just because I hate seeing the ball go that way. So I've been trying to work on that draw. But it did, in fact, launch way left. We aimed that way. Club path was similar to the other one. So instead of being significantly into out, it's pretty significantly out to in. 1,500 side spin to the right. That's a good amount, especially with an 8 iron. So everything seems to be working well, and everything seems to check out. Let's hit one more now, normal 8 iron. Hopefully back in that neighborhood of about 155-ish carry, baby draw. Oh, or just thin it. Thin heel strike. But again, it's one thing if the square reads all the good shots great, but you also want it to read the bad shots pretty good too. So like that was not a good shot, and it did reflect what happened there. Low heel strike, I kind of thinned it off the heel, so backspin was lower. It rolled out more, spun up to the right. I mean, just not a good shot, but you want your launch monitor to pick up and be accurate both with good shots and with bad shots. That was a better strike. 156, still a little bit heely. So again, a little bit of a baby fade. I don't hate that though, so that's pretty close to what I would expect out of a halfway decent struck 8 iron. Can we get one to draw? Going that similar distance, hopefully. That one should draw. There we go. 161. Still a little bit thin, so backspin's not quite as high, but that's actually not bad for an 8 iron. Started a little bit right, drew back left, 168 total, 161 raw carry. My 300 feet of altitude or whatever it is gave me an extra 0.8 of a yard. But to me, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. To me, it seems good. All the club data matches well. All the backspin looks good. The side spin looks good. These shot shapes are matching up to what they feel like. And to me, I want to be afraid, like I was previously, I want to be afraid to do that update. You would hope that they beta test and they test out any kind of bugs or any big significant issues before they release it. Again, I was a little bit worried from what people were saying online, but sometimes, you know, if it's a credible source, then yeah, maybe take their word for it, but sometimes you just got to test it out yourself. And now I have the most updated firmware, software, and connectors. So for me, using the TP5 picks, the square should be as good as it can possibly be. And for me, I didn't notice any big differences coming out here with the old now going to the new firmware. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up again. If you guys had any kind of weird experiences with this update, please let me know down below. I'd be curious what your experience has been with it. But for me, with this limited test that you just saw, I gave it my stamp of approval. And it wasn't like, from what people were saying, I was half expecting to see like this 8 iron going like 130 or going like 200. But to me, that's right where my 8 iron has been. That one was struck a little bit better. And I kind of called out some of those yardages between the approach wedge, pitching wedge, and now 8 iron. So I'll have to do some more testing as I play more with it in terms of the tee reads, and if I notice anything with driver, maybe the faster ball speed, faster swings. But so far with these 3 clubs, seems pretty good. So wrapping this one up, please let me know what you think down below. As always, shout out to the members, and like I always say, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.